Welcome to the Running Network Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
Hello everyone, this is Gary Morgan with the Michigan Runner and the Running Network, and I have a very special guest, Charlie Engel, who did a very special run.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Me and a couple of my buddies actually had a really painful idea to run all the way across the Sahara Desert, and essentially we ran 4,600 miles in 111 days without actually taking a day off. And we covered almost 50 miles per day for that entire time, and it was across 6 African countries in West and North Africa, and really it was the most epic and amazing adventure that I could ever possibly imagine. And now we get a chance to actually share this film, Running the Sahara, with the world, not just with runners, but with everybody. I had been running and running ultras for a long time, and really just Ray and I, my Canadian friend, were, oddly enough, we were in the Amazon jungle racing against each other. And Kevin was there also, the third runner, and while we were competitors, we'd become really close friends and began to talk about something we might do together. And honestly, it was Ray's idea. Ray is sort of the one to first blurt out, I wonder if anyone has ever done this. And it was really that simple. We came back to the U.S. and began to do research on whether anyone had ever really done this before, and really found that no one specifically had set out to run all the way across the true Sahara, although some have done big pieces of it. And really we just decided, why not? Let's give it a shot and see if we can do something fun and interesting and painful, and maybe learn a few lessons along the way.
What were the full names of your two cohorts who did this?
Yeah, Ray Zahab is Canadian, and he lives up in Chelsea, Quebec, and he is very well known in Canada. And Kevin Lin is Taiwanese, and Kevin is truly a rock star in Taiwan. I was there about 6 months ago, and I always make the joke I signed something like 10,000 autographs in Taiwan and Taipei, and not one single person knew who I was. I just was with Kevin.
Well, that's great to be with someone who's famous. So, and now when you did this run across Africa, you also had some filmmakers, and you got someone famous to back your idea. And
yeah, it's true. I was lucky enough to get Matt Damon involved in the project, and he's the executive producer and narrator of the movie. James Mall is the director, and he won an Academy Award years back for another movie that he made. And so we had these incredible guys involved in this project, and it has given us the platform to be able to have a really strong charity, H2O Africa, which is h2africa.org. And we have raised more than $5 million in a couple of years just because people have latched on to this idea of bringing clean water to Africa and understanding the importance of it. And as I always tell everyone, other than the right to our own lives, the right to clean water, I think, is probably the biggest and most important issue for all of us.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And, that's definitely there's a lot of water on the planet, but not a lot of it you can drink. Well, you guys were just kind of making your own way across the desert over there for a good portion of that trip, weren't you?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we had Magellan GPS as a sponsor, and so I'm a good navigator, and we basically were able to take a bearing and go straight across open desert most of the time. And sometimes that was good, and sometimes not so good.
Did you take enough water, or did you find water along the way and use purification tablets or pumps or stuff like that along the way, or how did you do that?
The volume of water that we needed was so great that we certainly, if we could buy water, we would, but honestly that was only on a few very lucky occasions. The rest of the time we were left to the same situation as the people that lived there. The wells that we did come across, we would, take the water that we need. We were lucky enough to have a truck with a filtration system. But very often, I mean, I'm not kidding when I say there were times where we were like, we're taking water that was, I'm watching a, camel, going to the bathroom in the water, standing there, we're sucking up this water into the truck to be filtered and drank, but it was still, it was edgy. We bought a lot of food, but we actually had tons of canned food to begin with. That was really our primary thing. And honestly, though, I'm like a real animal person. It was always very a little stressful for me that the goat that's riding along in the back of the supply truck this morning is in the pot this afternoon. But I mean, that's the nature of their world.
Now, 3 of you are running, but how many did you have for support staff to make the movie as you went along the way and stuff? And how many trucks? I mean, you only have 3 people running, but when you start talking movies and stuff, you have to have a large support staff.
No, it's very true. And we had 3 direct support people, a doctor, a massage therapist, and a logistics person. And then we had native Tuaregs who really are the ones that kept us alive, frankly. I mean, they set up the camps and cook the food, and they know the desert. I mean, because our goal wasn't to, our goal was to get across the desert. And certainly there was no luxury to it, but we also had no real great desire to die. And there was no way to do that type of a run unsupported. It's just not possible because there's it's just not possible. So we were very lucky to have great people. But as I always say, the success of something like that is based on the ability of the team to adapt to the changing circumstances.
Well, I'm sure we could talk for hours about this, but it's been fantastic talking to you. And, as I watch some of these, films here and some of these people, and like Serge Reti, who did a worldwide trip, and, his wife supported him. But then I think about our explorers of 100, 200, 300, 500 years ago, what they had to go through. And, of course, now we do this stuff, and we talk about running a marathon seems almost easy compared to what people did, 100, 200, 300 years ago when they had to do exploration and everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
When I would, I don't want to say so much I wish I was alive then, but I mean, my goals are partly to try my best to have adventures that maybe felt something like that. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we have sat phones, we have things. I mean, there are almost always ways to be rescued, which is in a way, of course, good. I have a family. I have kids. I really don't. I'm not out there to die. However, it does take away some of the the feel and the wild adventure that I'm sure that they felt, because they truly were going into into nothing. So I have huge respect for for the people that did that many years ago, and I'm going to do my best to keep seeing as much of the world as possible, and hopefully have some good experiences.
And one other thing with the people, like a lot of marathoners here, what do you think, what's your kind of your quick advice for many people are now looking at the ultra type stuff, even myself, I'm looking at doing comrades next month. What's one piece of advice you'd like to give marathoners who want to go above the 26.2 distance?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is just to adjust your expectations. Not that you can't do well, but it truly is the old joke about, how do you run a marathon? Well, you start slow and then you taper off. That's my old joke. Because when I'm telling new people, because their biggest mistake is to usually go too hard, like you might in a marathon. So for an ultra, it's much more about enjoying the experience. A lot of stuff happens in a 100-mile race. I mean, I've been in 20th place at mile 60 of a 100-miler before and won the race. I mean, on a number of occasions, because it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So it's much more of I look at ultras as being truly a thinking person's sport. You gotta maintain the body, but it's one of the few things too that being older is not a disadvantage.
You got experience. And then with the movie, now what is the movie?
Running the Sahara is the name of the movie, and it can be purchased at runningthesahara.com, either on DVD or downloaded for $9.99. The download, and we're screening around the country right now, just like we have here at Boston. I'm at Big Sur next week. With documentaries, you're never going to have like a wide release. Although we will be coming to Detroit sometime soon, so I'll be back in touch with you and let you know, and
we will definitely publicize.
We'll get all these great runners in Michigan to come check it out.
Love that. The people in Michigan would just flock to that.
I love it.
Big running community with the Hansons and plenty of other groups, and we would just love to come and see a movie like that.
I'll see you there.